Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining and welcome to this webinar on our top tips for total security. My name's Isaac. I work within the business development team and I'm ADM's resident speaker on all of our webinars. In this presentation, I'm going to be running through some of our top tips and general practices for security within your organization and diving into some of the tools you can implement that can help. It has now been announced that we will all be going into another lockdown on Thursday until at least the 2nd of December. So now more than ever, security of staff working from home is an absolute priority and should be taken seriously. Before we do start today, just a few guidelines. If there are any questions during the session, these will all be answered in an email response following today's event. And anything that I talk about can be further discussed in a follow-up call should you wish. To start off, I'd like to give you a little bit of information on who we are and what we do. So we are ADM Computing. We're an IT services and support company based in Kent, covering London, South East and further. We were established in 1984, which makes us more than 36 years old now. We have 70 staff, 3/4 of whom are technical and service delivery teams. We are also a Microsoft Gold partner, and all of our competencies with them include not only involve exams, but actually deploying the technologies as well. And we're also a highly rated partner with many other industry leading vendors. In terms of accreditations, we have ISO 9001, 14001, 27001 and Cyber Essentials Plus. I'm also going to be covering quite a few Microsoft security products today and do want to show you why we're qualified to talk about and support organizations with those Microsoft products. So we're a Microsoft Gold partner, as I mentioned, and we have achieved all of the golden competencies on the right to the highest standard certified by Microsoft. Now, usually we'd hold an event like this one at the Microsoft head offices in London. Of course, we have had to change this due to the current pandemic. And even though unfortunately we're not able to meet all of you face to face at the moment, we can still convey a great deal of information using this webinar format and by taking your questions. So if you do have any questions, please do pop them in the Q&A box. And as mentioned, I'll send an email follow up to all of you with the answers. So now that you know a bit more about us, I'd like to run through the plan for this morning. In this webinar, I'll be going through some general security measures that you can put in place to further protect your organization. Also, the fundamentals of Secure Score and how it actually works. Following this, I'll also run through multi-factor authentication and EM&S. And then finally, I'll be telling you about an exclusive free training opportunity. So do stick around for that one. I'll also make sure to provide you with all the relevant contacts you may need. With that said, let's take a dive into some general security measures. I want to give you my top 5 tips to starting out with security. First of all, when browsing online, make sure the website that you visit has a padlock at the end of the URL. That's a good starting place for beginners to understand security and also enables you to browse websites securely. Secondly, don't download anything personally confidential on an organization's asset. That's an important one. Third, don't connect personal devices directly to your organization's network. Fourth, email security is crucial. One wrong click can take down an organization, and I'll touch more on that in a moment. And fifth and finally, password strength matters. I'll give you a brief overview of this now. Passwords are an important part of any end user's devices. A colleague of mine used to say that a password should always be easy to remember, but hard to guess, and that's quite important. You want a complex password that preferably isn't repeated across a number of logins. A different password for everything would be ideal, but how would you remember what password is matched to a particular website or device? Well, there are a couple of ways to tackle this. Personally, I use a password manager. something like LastPass or Dashlane. That's up to you and your preference. But with these, I can access all of my passwords for various applications, devices, and websites with the click of a button, and everything's locked away in the password manager by a master password, which of course is easy to remember, but very hard to guess. A top tip when creating passwords would be to include a mixture of uppercase and lowercase letters, symbols, and numbers. For example, according to the National Cybersecurity Centre, amongst the most common passwords in 2019 were QWERTY, password1, and dragon, exclamation mark. I'm sure all of you know better than this, but needless to say, if your password is on this list, I'd recommend changing it. Some ideas of more complex passwords that are easy to remember might be a quote from a book or a lyric from a song. But you want to make sure these are hard to guess, so how do you do that? Let's take an example from The Lord of the Rings. Not all who wander are lost. This could be changed into this. And we have a mixture of lowercase and capital letters, an exclamation mark for our symbol, and the year the book was written. So there's an example of a hard to remember, hard to guess and easy to remember password, should I say. There are obviously many more options to strengthen your passwords. The choice to do it is up to you. Let's now talk about some good security practice. SATT. It isn't a Microsoft product, but it is a fantastic service that we at ADM use and provide to our clients for the purposes of training staff on email phishing. It stands for Security Awareness Training and Testing. So instead of trying to explain it to you in words, let's take an example. One of the employees in your organization receives this email. What do they do? What about this one? Or even this one? Now, do they see it in their inbox and instantly know that it's a phishing email? Or do they click into it, see the link, assume it's safe to open, and open the organization up to a potential cyber threat? Unsurprisingly, the latter is usually the case for untrained staff members. So this is where SATT comes in. SATT uses a team of experts to create and deploy fake phishing emails to end users' inboxes through the IT team. They can create anything from what you see here on screen to an email that looks like it's direct from the HR director with branding images and, for example, a link to extend your holiday allowance. SATT also offers extensive, exclusive, simple and clear training to end users in your organization to help them fight these extremely common phishing attacks. If you want to know more about SATT, please do give me a ring. My contact details will be at the end of this presentation. Let's now talk about another form of layering your security with WatchGuard's new offering, dark web reporting. According to the 2019 Global State of Cybersecurity in Small and Medium-Sized Businesses report from the Pohlman Institute, 63% of businesses reported an incident involving the loss of sensitive information about customers and employees in the previous year. WatchGuard Technology's new dark web scanning tool allows you to simply enter your domain name into this search engine to find out how many of your email accounts have been exposed in public data breaches, and then you can request a free comprehensive report. Once you have this free report, WatchGuard has provided a list of actions to take if company credentials have been exposed on the dark web. This includes resetting passwords company-wide, checking for additional threats by conducting a security audit to identify vulnerabilities that may have occurred due to a data breach or dark web threat, promoting user awareness activities to remind employees of secure practices when it comes to accessing company platforms and information, and to keep work and personal passwords separate. That's an important one. And finally, turning on multi-factor authentication, which I will talk about later down the presentation, to protect employee company credentials, along with access to network and cloud-based applications. That's multi-factor authentication. So there's Quite a lot to think about there. It's a very useful tool, and I highly recommend giving it a go after the webinar. As I said, it's completely free for your first report, so I will post the link in the chat at the end. I now want to talk about a Microsoft offering designed specifically to improve your layered security in the workplace. Now, in this segment, I aim to create clarity on how SecureScore can massively benefit your organization's security posture and important changes you can make to boost your score. SecureScore is a measurement of an organization's security posture. The higher the secure score, the more improvements you've made. Now, there are 3 layers of secure score, which help to report on the current state of the organization's security posture, improve their security posture by providing discoverability, visibility, guidance, and control, and finally compare with benchmarks and establish key performance indicators or KPIs. But how does it all work? You're given points for setting up recommended security features or performing security-related tasks. You can also receive points by addressing the improvement action with a third-party application or software or an alternate mitigation. Some improvement actions only give points when fully completed, and some give partial points if they're completed for some devices or some users. If you cannot or do not want to complete one of these improvement actions, you can choose to accept the risk or the remaining risk. SecureScore will show you the full set of possible improvements regardless of license, so you can understand security best practices and improve your score. Your absolute security posture is represented by SecureScore, which stays the same no matter what product licenses your organization owns. And your score is updated in real time to reflect the information presented in the visualizations and improvement action pages. SecureScore also syncs daily to receive system data about your achieved points for each action. And now you know a little bit about how SecureScore actually works. Let's look at their 4 pillars of improvement statuses. In short, there are 4 levels to improve within SecureScore. The first one is to address. You recognize that the improvement action is necessary and plan to address it at some point in the future. This also applies to actions which are detected as partially but not fully completed. The second one is planned. This just means there are concrete plans in place to complete the improvement action. The third one is risk accepted. Security should always be balanced with usability, and not every recommendation will work for your environment. When that's the case, you can choose to accept the risk or the remaining risk and not enact the improvement action. You won't be given points, but the action will no longer be visible in the list of improvement actions. And you can view that action in history or undo it at any time. And finally, resolved through third party or resolved through alternate mitigation. Now, this improvement action has already been addressed by a third-party application or software or an internal tool. And you'll gain the points that the action is worth, so your score better reflects your overall security posture. Each improvement action is worth 10 points or less. If you implement the improvement action, like create a new policy or turn on a specific setting, you get 100% of the points. For other improvement actions, points are given as a percentage of the total configuration. Now, what products are included in this improvement actions and scoring system? Currently, there are recommendations for Microsoft 365, including Exchange Online, Azure AD, Microsoft Defender, Azure ATP, and Cloud App Security. Recommendations for other security products are coming soon. One thing I haven't touched on too much is what SecureScore actually looks like. And this is for the simple reason that I want you to get all of the relevant information across to you so you understand what you're looking at in the next slide. In the Microsoft Secure Score overview page, you can see how points are split between these groups and what points are available. The overview page is also the place to get an all-up view of the total score, historical trend of your secure score with benchmark comparisons, and prioritized improvement actions that can be taken to improve your score. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this on the screen for a moment so you can have a look and take a look at this secure score dashboard itself. So that's the secure score dashboard. And how do you implement all of this into your organization? Well, if you already have Microsoft 365 in your organization, some of these tools I've discussed may already be available to you. If you don't or want us to take a look at your security posture, please do get in touch with your account manager or our sales team. Let's take a look at another security tool from Microsoft now as well, MFA. Now, MFA is something you've probably heard of, MFA or 2FA, you can go either way. It stands for multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, and it ensures your accounts are up to 99.9% less likely to be compromised. With it, you can provide users secure, seamless access to all of their applications from any location or device. The Microsoft version of MFA has a brilliant counterpart called Microsoft Authenticator. And what the Microsoft Authenticator app does is help you sign into your accounts if you use two-factor verification. So you can use the Microsoft Authenticator app in multiple ways, including the ability to respond to a prompt for authentication after you sign in with your username and password. You can also sign in without entering a password using your username and the Authenticator app and your mobile device with your fingerprint, face, or PIN. And it also works as a code generator for other accounts that support Authenticator apps. So you can use this with your personal applications as well. And that's what MFA does in short. Now, finally, let's take a brief look at EM&S. So EM&S, it's Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security. It's an intelligent mobility management and security platform, and it helps protect and secure your organization and empowers your employees to work in new and flexible ways. With it, you can ensure secure connections between people, devices, apps, and data. You can increase your security and productivity with a single identity solution that gives you flexibility and control. You'll be able to protect your sensitive data everywhere, even when traveling and when shared, and also see and control how files are used with a comprehensive and integrated information protection solution. EM&S also enables you to detect and investigate advanced threats, compromised identities, and malicious actions across your on-premise and cloud environments. So you'll be protecting your organization with adaptive built-in intelligence. In short, EM&S and its products increase the security features of Windows 10 and Microsoft 365 and extend them to your entire environment, including investments that aren't supplied by Microsoft as well. Now, I am wary of not diving into the technicalities of EM&S too much, as we do have a variety of viewers on this morning. So if you are an IT administrator or you work within IT, please do get in touch with us where we can take you through this in a little more detail. So that about wraps it up. I'm aware I've run a little bit short there. That about wraps it up on sort of the total tips for top security. I do want to briefly run through a couple of exciting upcoming events we have going on before ending today. So we have some very exciting news that we're now able to provide free fully interactive training sessions for up to 2 members of staff in your organisation. It's sponsored by RMD, and this training is run by Alex Waterton, who is a Microsoft certified trainer. We've been working with him closely for a long time, and he'll be discussing the top tips and tricks along with taking you through the fantastic features and updates in Microsoft Teams, Outlook, OneNote, Word, and Excel. I do want to mention something very briefly on this. These training sessions are looking like they're going to be coming to an end at the end of December. So if you are interested in booking on for those, please let us know and book in now while it's still available. And if you do want to book for any of those sessions, please do get in touch. I hope you've all enjoyed this morning's webinar and learned something new. If you would like to book on for any of the sessions, the training sessions I mentioned, please do give me a ring on my direct dial number on screen or drop me an email. Feel free to also drop me an email with any feedback you have and what you'd like to see next. If you'd like any advice, training, support, or would like to get anything I've discussed today, including Microsoft Secure Score, WatchGuard, SATT, EM&S, or MFA for your organization, please don't hesitate to get in touch with one of our brilliant account managers who will take you through the necessary information. You can reach them on the number or email on the screen. One last thing to note is that there will be a recording of this event posted in the very near future on our ADM Computing YouTube channel, which will be sent to you in a follow-up email following this event. I will leave all of this contact information up on the screen for a couple of minutes so you're able to take it down. I know that my colleague Penny will be posting the link for the WatchGuard free dark web reporting in the chat as well. And all I'd like to say now is thank you once again to everyone who tuned in today. I'm sure I'll see you all again very soon. Well, I hope I will. And stay safe. Goodbye.